Hello and welcome to the World Championship final match. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and it all comes down to this. Frank Karsten from the Netherlands trying to put up back-to-back world titles for the Dutch. Katsuhiro Mori of the home country trying to finish the Japanese coronation as the powerhouse country in Magic. There you get a good look at Katsu Mori. He's added a scarf, which I recognize as originally belonging to Masahiko Morita. The pressure of the entire country is on him. The eyes of the world are on him. He looking pretty comfortable. He's sort of cruised through to the finals at this point. He's ready for this. He's got a green-white Ghazi Glare deck. It makes a bunch of tokens with the Celestia cards from Ravnica. It's got Celestia Guildmage. It's got the City Tree. And then Glare of Subdual is useful for tapping down creatures. It's got Umezawa Jite, which you see coming into play on turn 2 here. Also excellent against creature decks. Problem is, Frank Karsten's not really playing a creature deck. Karsten is playing a green-white Greater Good deck. He's got a Gifts Ungiven package, and he's able to set up Greater Good, sacrificing dragons. He's got a lot that he can do if left relatively unmolested, and Katsumori can't really beat him down. So it sort of feels like the weight of history is on the side of the Japanese player, but the deck matchup seems to favor Karsten. Is that about how you see it, Brian?
Well, it was how I saw it until just about a minute ago when a little bird popped into our booth and said that Remy said that the matchup who sideboarded favored Mori because of Hokori Duskdrinker. Apparently 4 sideboarded games. It was 3-1 in favor of Mori.
So they're actually like testing the matchup out there in the stands.
I guess
trying
they're
to
out
help
there
their
testing
buddy.
the matchup, yeah.
Wow, Hokori. Katsu looking kind of happy.
He's like, yep, Hokori. So
that could be interesting. Yeah, I mean, this first game looks like it should clearly favor the Dutchman, but maybe the sideboarded games go differently. That could be good. The nation of Japan has been dominating the Pro Tour this year, but they have not really racked up wins until this weekend. Yeah, Shukamura won in Nagoya, but that was it. That was the only one real win internationally this year. The World Team title has now gone to Japan. The Player of the Year has already been clinched by Japanese player Kenji Sumura. And now if Katsuhiro Mori can win here, they pull off a triple crown that has only been accomplished by the United States.
And has any team accomplished that triple crown in their home country? Not that it's an important distinction, but...
when the USA did it, they did it in Brussels and in... Seattle.
That was in Seattle. So the first one was in Seattle. So I'm looking through the pairings. It looks like Karsten probably played a Ghazi Glare deck actually round 1.
Who did he get paired against?
A Japanese player, so it's almost...
It was only 18 of the 33 played this. I mean, it was everyone you've heard of.
But he did tell me that he definitely played it on day 1. So it's not a name player, but he definitely played against it. It's probably his round 1 pairing. Looking through it, I don't see any other Japanese names in the pairings.
Well, the way this first game is shaping up, Katsu got out a Wood Elf, he equipped it with a Jite. I mean, that'd be enough against a lot of decks. It's probably not enough against Karsten, but the Jite counters still become relevant. He's up to 4 now. Oh, he's gonna actually use the Giant Growth ability. Get in 5. What's that? 5 damage there?
5 damage. 5 a turn. That's a Wood Elf Fatty Boom Boom.
Frank does have Gifts Ungiven ready, so he can Gifts here, untap, and we'll find out what the right play is. Katsu is out of land?
He is. He's got a
he's got North Tree in his hand, but does not have the 5th land he needs to play it.
I play Celestia Guildmage here.
Seems like he's got to just keep up whatever pressure he can, right? Deck doesn't give him a lot of ways to interact with Frank.
He's thinking about, I guess he's thinking about Congregation at Dawn, but that seems slow and means you won't get any land.
How many cards?
Go get Hierarchs, I guess?
Possibly.
Start summoning 4/4s? I mean, a 2/2 now isn't that much worse than a 4/4 later. Okay. A 4/4, 2/2 now plus a blind draw.
Look at the two cards in response. Gifts Ungiven.
Now, tell me what the advantage is of using the top the way Frank has.
Frank said that he wanted to do it this. He was going to do this where he's activated his top, saying he's going to look at 3 cards.
Right.
And he's worried about Seed Spark here.
Okay.
He's worried about the Gifts Ungivening and then having his opponent Seed Spark in response to Gifts Ungiven.
Okay.
Then he has to flip his top up on top of his library. And then he doesn't get... He'll
lose it. It gets shuffled in for the
He'll lose
gifts.
it and it'll get shuffled in. This way, even if it gets shuffled in, he's still going to get to look at 3 cards when it resolves after the Gifts Ungiven, even if it gets Seed Sparked.
All right. Nice. It turns out Katsu does indeed have the Seed Spark.
Absolutely.
So, Karsten really good at finding every little subtle advantage.
Yeah, he wrote some Byzantine primer on playing a Lorange, and he would just have these incredibly complex timing tricks that I can't even I could barely follow when I was reading it the first time, and I certainly can't recall them. But it was one of the first times I just realized he was really just one of the top. He was one of the top minds in the game right now. He was in the running for the Resident Genius after last year's Nagoya when he ran through Nagoya through the draft. He developed this list and he just listed every card in Kamigawa draft, ranked them in order, talked to just about every player in the room, got their opinions.
All right. Well, there's the gift package. It's Greater Good, Yosei, Reclaim, and Recollect.
So it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for
2 regrowths and 2 threats.
Yep.
It gives him access to whatever he wants.
There's no good split here for Mori.
It's obviously the ideal of the gift deck. You try to set it up with enough regrowth type effects that your opponent can't help but give you the cards you want. Yosei and Recollect go to the graveyard. He's going to get Reclaim and Greater Good.
And then when all of this resolves, Frank's going to get to look at 3 fresh cards on top of his library. I definitely think a lot of the developments in the way people play the game like this are a result of Magic Online. We've talked about this a lot. But the idea that, people visualize the stack, they see, like, oh, I activate my top to look at 3 cards, and then I have an opportunity to respond. Well, how could I use that? How could I take advantage of that? It's an argument I was having with Mike Flores recently. Or not really an argument, more of a discussion. We're talking about, older players versus modern players. And I said, I was at Legacy and I was watching a couple of kids who were very amateurish players who were playing High Tide, and they were just talking very casually about how you get around High Tide, how you get around multiple Gaia's Blessings in a deck by stacking the Brain Freezes and then doing this and doing that. And you put the Gaia's Blessing on the stack, and then you do some more Brain Freezes, and then you do this. And I don't know that that kind of thinking would be as prevalent in Magic today if it wasn't for Magic Online. And that's what we're seeing here with Karsten, right? I mean, it's the same kind of really thoughtful approach to. Same kind of thoughtful approach to.
Well, Mori reconsidered his options and then went with the same thing.
And then shuffled.
So top.
What do we got coming up for Frank?
Looks like land, reach, land. If I got it right in that quick little...
That's what it was.
It turns out the forums were also on top of the sideboard tech. Jerome Remy had to come inform us, but if only I had looked, get in the zone, is saying, take a look at Mori's sideboard. It's not as bad a matchup as you think. Hokoris are a problem for Karsten to deal with.
Right, and the Hokoris actually are very interesting in the match for Mori, who's got the Selesnya Sanctuaries. He can still function his deck kind of nicely under an Hokori.
Yeah, it sounds like Hokori is more close to. Hokori is going to be the key to the games, and it's 4 sideboarded games. 80% of the games will involve Hokori and being in Mori's deck. Not this one though.
I mean, there's still 2 last gasps for after sideboard for Karsten, and I'm sure he's going to bring the second one in.
Sure.
And he's also got the hideous laughter.
Meanwhile, Frank Karsten summons the dragon. Yosei, the Morning Star.
Greater Good looming in the wings.
So Mori's play here is Congregation, right?
And is it?
What else is he going to do?
He doesn't
Seed
want to.
Spark? It's not going to resolve.
Well, he wants to draw land, though. He doesn't want to just draw. Just drawing Hierarchs at this point doesn't really help him, does
Well,
it?
then why didn't he play the Guild Mage? He must have thought about this on his turn, and he concluded that he did not want to play the Guild Mage.
I think the plan has been changed by the previous sequence of events.
Really?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he wasn't expecting to face down Dragon this turn, or he wasn't expecting to face, Greater Good and Dragon this turn.
Maybe he was planning to leave up Seed Spark. He did leave up Seed Spark mana, too. The other thing he was doing with those 4 mana. Sure that leaving up the threat of Seed Spark is as good as playing a Guild Mage there. What else does get it to attack? It can shoot down Yosei. If Karsten blocks. Do you block if you're Karsten?
Karsten blocks, gets a turn.
Yeah, does get to tap out Mori. Should Mori have used his mana before the attack phase, knowing that this was possible?
Depends on what he was going to use it for. He's not going to congregate him. Maybe play a Selesnya. Selesnya Guild Mage.
He's also not obligated to kill Yosei. Could just get 2 counters on Jite if he wants to.
Right. Sort of bluff at the attack, see what Karsten does, and then let it go, and then have a Jite with 4 counters on it. But he knows there's a Greater Good coming up also.
True. Well, he does kill Yosei. Gets 2 new counters on the Jite and winds up tapped out for this turn and next turn. Yeah, that no 5th land really hurt Katsu this game.
Now,
he's effectively done nothing for each of the last 2 turns.
Actually, going to be 3 turns now.
True.
Karsten's got Greater Good, and he's got Goryo's Vengeance in hand. Doesn't look like he'll be doing much next turn either. So, and Frank Carson's also got Kadama's Reach in hand, so he's going to be able to splice the Vengeance next turn.
And shuffle off the top. Katsu drew a Llanowar Elf. Still has the Seed Spark, but I don't see it happening either. Katsu shakes his head.
Yeah. This game is over. He's going to be able to Yosei for at least 2 more turns, go 10 cards deep into his deck with the help of top. So he really goes.
I might just scoop here if I was Katsuhiro. And he
there
does.
you go. Good
I think
call.
That's a great
Good
play.
call.
Just scoop. It's not worth sitting there and losing. So congratulations to Frank Karsten. He is up a game. The Dutchman takes a 1-0 lead, but now they go to the sideboards. Mori goes to get those Hikoris.
Well,
Karsten goes to get his removal package.
Again, the Dutch team. We're assuming Mori has the same sideboard strategy as the Dutch. Remember, the Dutch don't know what the Japanese sideboard strategy is.
Sure. In the forums, they were saying something about some Grand Prix where Hikori where this is sort of a known sideboard.
Sure. In Deck X, Hikori was just main deck because of all the gift stacks.
Yeah, I'm sure he's bringing in Hikori.
Of course he is. That's why it's there. But we can at least talk about it.
It's 4 of them too, right?
It's 3 Hikori Dust Drinkers.
3, okay.
He might also be bringing in some, like I said, it's possible that he's going to bring in Greater Good as well.
Maybe. I like the scoop there from Katsuhiro, by the way.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't think it helps you to sit there and lose. I mean, especially Katsu's a little more emotional than the average Magic player.
Right.
I mean, his psyche is important to the way he plays, and
I mean, 10 cards deep. You know, he gets to Kadama's Reach, Splice the Vengeance. You don't get another untap. Draw 5 cards with the Greater Good. So. You know,
yeah, the game was over. The game was definitely over.
He's going to find another. He's going to find a Soul Survival. He's going to find another Kadama's Reach. He's going to find something. Plus he's got 2 top activations in there. So, I mean, obviously there's some sequence of events where maybe Karsten runs out of steam, but I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what those are. You know, like every land in his deck would need to be on top and stay on top after several shuffle effects.
So we've been talking a lot about which of these decks wins this matchup. Which of these decks do you think is better against the field? If somebody listening at home is thinking about trying to figure out what to take to Friday Night Magic this week, would you recommend one of these decks or something else entirely?
I really like Frank's deck a lot. Gifts is a very difficult deck to play. I mean, you can see the brain power that Karsten has to bring to each decision. I mean, not to say that Ghazi Glare isn't a decision-intensive deck, but it seems like it's a lot more straightforward. There's a lot more. It's an outpost deck. I mean, that's a lot of fun. I think I would say play Ghazi Glare. I mean, really give it a try. Play with some new cards. Play with some new mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Play with some cards you might not have
you really
thought
get
about.
to see the Celestia Guild in action.
Yeah. You know, it's. I think. I mean, I really like the Greater Good deck. I mean, again.
So Karsten's deck is better, but Katsu's is more fun.
I think so. I mean, I don't know how good. We'll know after this match. I mean, it really depends on how. Because again, you're going to face the deck that wins this is going to be a deck that you're going to have to deal with. So you're going to try to find the best matchup. I mean, it's going to change.
So if you're playing to win, bring the deck that beats whichever one of these guys wins.
Exactly. Exactly. But the next standard metagame that people really need to deal with is going to be those team PTQs.
That'll be fun.
This is a nice deck. I mean, this is a deck that Flores and I had been talking about, and we're like, oh no, Karsten wrote that article. Now people know about this deck. It's a deck we were definitely talking about for our team that we're going to be.
So when do those start?
PTQs with. I think they start in February.
No, I think there's a limited round.
What's that?
No, there's a limited round coming up first. There's a limited round next, because right now we're doing qualifiers for Honolulu.
Right.
So it's constructed qualifying for constructed. In January, there starts sealed deck round. Sealed deck with booster draft top days.
In March.
I think that round runs January, February, March. I think it's April.
Oh.
So
Mike might be crazy. Why is he thinking about all these decks 5 months out?
Because it's fun. It's fun. I mean, you will have Guild Pack for that.
Right.
Guild Pack, but not Dissension. Or Dissension might come out during that round, actually.
Yeah, I know a set comes out in the middle of the round.
It's Dissension. And if you think about it, there hasn't been a standard round of qualifiers in many years. That will be an interesting qualifier format to think about. I'm not surprised people are thinking about it already.
Right.
It's going to be a good one. Standard's a lot of fun. It's the format everybody plays anyway. I mean, it's the standard, right? It's what's going on at Friday Night Magic and all over the web. It's what people are talking about.
And you have a lot of decisions to make about it's a unified format.
Right. It's team
constructed.
If you
stacked it into 180 cards.
Right. It's 3-person,
4 of any card.
3-person team constructed. So each of the 3 of you builds your own deck and plays your own deck, but you have to imagine them stacked on top of each other, and it's still legal. So you have to play. You only get 4 tops scattered between the 3 decks.
Right. 4 JTs between all the decks. 4 of all the good cards. So it really forces you to play with cards. You can't put cranial extractions in every deck. So maybe you play Quash in one deck sideboard, or how do you deal with all that? And
then that qualifier round feeds team block constructed at the Pro Tour level.
And which city is that going to be in?
I think that's Charleston.
Is that one for Charleston?
I think that's for Charleston.
So why Charleston?
Well, we were really looking for sort of an Americana city. right? The Pro Tour is now trying to go to more vacation destinations and, ignoring just the big cities in convention halls in favor of sites with a little more character to them. Graceland was actually considered for a while.
Oh, wow.
It turns out they don't have a convention center room. And something we may continue to look at, a Memphis or, Charleston sort of fit into that role. It's a vacation destination. It's sort of, a glimpse into Americana. Should be fun.
So we got a pithing needle. I don't know what it's set on.
Sakura Tri-Builder.
Kind of surprised not set on greater good.
Yeah, it's an interesting call.
Maybe he's assuming the greater goods are gone.
Or top.
Or top.
I mean, Katsu doesn't run Divining Top, right?
No, they don't run Divining Top. They don't have time for the deck. They're using all the mana every turn, making guys and tapping for their city trees. And
I might have called for Divining Top there. I guess the thing with a Sakura Tri-Builder call is if Carson kept a hand that's dependent on one Tri-Builder in order to have any chance, it's like you're rolling a die, and it's only 1 and 8 that you hit, but if he kept a draw that depended on Tri-Builder, you just win the game with that call.
Right.
So, maybe it's only a 10 or 15% shot of being a good call, but in that scenario, it's so good that it wins you the game.
So we got, you can see one of the sideboard cards that came in is Seedborn Muse.
Okay.
Seedborn Muse is in hand.
Yeah, the next Q-Team round is definitely limited for Prague.
And there's Kadama of the North Tree.
I'm already 19.
All right, turn 4 North Tree. There's the clock.
Carson 19.
So we haven't seen Karsten's hand. What does he have to? Got some planes last turn. He's got a ninja. He's getting ready to, he's going to brace himself, take some damage here, and he's going to gifts at the end of the turn.
Carson 12.
He's got a lot of the pieces of the puzzle in his hand already.
Yeah, he does.
And there's a Yosei. Quite a beatdown draw here from Mori. Carson Cass Gibson, it doesn't look like he knows what he's getting yet. Doesn't look like he has a clear plan here. He's got a Kadama of the North Tree he's got to deal with, and he's got a Yosei he's got to deal with.
It's a good hand.
You talking about his own or Mori's?
I think Mori's. I think he looked at Mori and complimented him on his hand. Yeah, Carson's hand is Swamp Forest, Hideous Laughter, Ink Eyes, and then he folded it up again. I think it was Soulless Revival and Goryo's Vengeance?
No, he's going to get the Wrath of God, and he's going to get that Wrath package again. So he gets a Wrath of God, a Kagamaro.
Yeah, he's got Goryo's Vengeance and Soulless Revival already.
And probably a Hanakami.
Since he's got some of the pieces in his hand already, he can afford to throw Hanakami into the mix. Set up the full-on recursion.
I'm telling you, I played Lava Spike for the entire block constructed season, Kamigawa block. I know the gifts deck way too complicated for me. So if it seems obvious to some people out there who played gifts in the PTQ season, I can talk to you a lot about splicing Glacier Ray onto Lava Spike.
Can I change?
And there's probably a bunch of people out there that haven't even seen this deck actually in action before. Maybe thinking about going to a PTQ. Mori wants to change.
To change it to Kagamaro.
Oh, I say Sakura? Really?
All right, so Frank Carson gets Hanakami, threw a Yosei into the mix.
Sure.
Hanakami, Wrath of God, Kagamaro, Yosei.
Yes.
So I think what he's hoping to be able to do is start recurring, getting back Hanakami every turn with Soulless Revival, And
but he can get Kagamaru back every turn as well.
Right.
Right, he's got.
Well, he's not going to want to get it
Soul
back.
Survival.
He's going to want to Goryo's Vengeance it into play. Doesn't want to summon it. He wants to use Goryo's Vengeance to put Kagamaru into play. I think you actually give him Kagamaru in hand so that he's forced to get it out of his hand, right? You give him Kagamaru and Hanakami, I think.
Wrath of God went right in the bin.
Seems right.
And he's not getting no matter what. And you can look and you look and you look. There's really not a good answer.
He's just trying to figure out how Frank's going to use his mana next turn. Can't do anything great here, but he can try to make things as inconvenient for Frank as possible.
Of course.
Buy himself an extra turn.
Oh, suddenly the Wrath of God's coming back into the pile.
Really? That surprises me.
Karsten's pretty good about not giving away anything with his facial expression in a match. Remains pretty impassive. A little bit of an impatient flick of the eye here and there, but other than that. So he's getting redder again.
Yep. That's about all he gives away.
Not that much you can do about that.
Relax more. It's like Wrath and Hanakami going to the graveyard. He's going to give him Yosei. I guess that surprises me a little bit. Although, I mean, if Karsten plays Yosei, Katsu gets to untap first,
He does
right?
get to untap first. And then if he has a Kori,
True.
that would be pretty good for him.
Yeah, maybe giving him Yosei is better than giving him Hanakami. That makes sense.
But Yosei's not the issue here. He's it's really more the Kagamaru, which is going to effectively can keep all of his guys off the board every turn. Like what exactly is?
Well, Katsu doesn't know there's a Goryo's Vengeance in the loop. I mean, I'm sure he suspects it since it's not in the gift split.
Right.
That's a lot of, I think, what Katsuhiro is thinking about right now. He's like, okay, given that Frank put these cards into the gift split, what does he have in his hand?
Right, so
and he got Hanakami and no arcane cards? What's up with that? There must be that he should be able to do so. That means there's two arcane cards in Frank's hand.
Right. So he has the whole lock, right? He has the Soul Survival also?
Yes. And what Katsu's gift split means is there is no creature in Karsten's graveyard, and so Goryo's Vengeance isn't automatically good. Right? Karsten's going to have to do a little bit of work before he can use Goryo's Vengeance to any effect. He's going to have to actually summon Kagamaru, sacrifice it the hard way.
That seems fine. I mean, wipe the board.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, it's gifts and given. There's not a good answer.
Yeah.
The most inconvenient thing he could do is force him to summon Kagamaru. If he puts it in the graveyard, then it comes out for free with a Soulless Revival spliced on top of it. That's not good.
He's risking a Hakori here is what's happening.
Right.
But I guess not really. He just waits until he can take a hit here, right?
Can he? Is it 12?
I guess he really can.
No.
What's my life?
Carson's trying to figure out if he can take a hit. Also, he would really, really like to wait until the end of Mori's turn
yeah, he would.
in order to sacrifice it. But I don't know if he's going to have that luxury.
I don't think so.
And
if he takes North Tree and Yosei, he can block what else? Take North Tree and Yosei, go to 1? Right?
Right.
Hypothetically, he could go to 1, but I don't think I would go to 1 either. I think I would. I mean, there's also. It's really hard to play around Hakori when you're killing Yosei anyway. Right. So, goes ahead, gets Yosei over with, risks Hakori. Does Katsuhiro have it? Just a Seedborn Muse. It'd be spectacular with Hakori, but wow, that was the turn. That was the turn where Katsuhiro Mori was supposed to play Hakori.
And he's going to go get it right now. He's got a Congregation of Dawn in his hand.
Oh, and the Yosei turn, so it is in time.
Yep.
Seedborn Muse lets him get out the Seedborn Muse and untap his lands. Right. Now he can Congregation for Hakori. Karsten had to skip his untap because Yosei resolved. So this is exactly what Frank Karsten feared. This was the only thing he could lose to. He's got all the pieces in his hand, but anyone who's been playing in PTQs in the last year realizes just how mana hungry the Gifts Ungiven deck is. It cannot operate with Hokori in play. Now what's Katsu thinking about? What else to get? What else do you get?
Yoseis. Right, he's getting the Hokori, 2 Yoseis. He'll keep him locked, he'll play a Yosei, he'll play another Yosei, lock him again for 2 turns. That should be enough to wrap it up.
That Gifts.
So as it turns out, he might have, maybe that he had to wait.
Go to 1?
Go to 1. I mean, that may be the only way he had out of this.
Interesting.
I mean, it's not just the 3 Hokoris. I mean, there's also however many of the tutors for creatures in his deck. So
yeah, but they're not fast enough.
I'm saying if he's holding it, he
was tapped out.
Good cards? Yeah, very good.
No. I'm talking about for Mori when he plays it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If he waits and he goes, I don't even know. We didn't really double check the math. I mean, he might be dead.
What? Green.
There's Hokori.
Wow. Can you imagine some scenario where you were making tokens with City Tree under Hokori?
Don't have to imagine it. There it is, right there.
There's a Putrefy.
Got to untap 1 land, got to play a second.
He needs a third.
You have to make sure it only untaps on your step, not on his.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seaborn Muse trigger, or it doesn't trigger, but Seaborn Muse works on each other player's turn. So it can't do anything on its own turn.
And it happens as part of the untap step.
I believe that's right.
So it actually. So wait a minute, does it actually trigger? Because there's no untap step for Frank.
I don't think Yosei says skip the untap. I think it says don't untap anything during untap, right? That'd be bizarre. Somebody would have figured this out by now. Like, we can't possibly be deducing this.
Yes. Discard, okay? Okay.
Karsten forced to discard. Does get a dragon into his graveyard.
Yeah.
He has the one. He has the Putrefy. He's going to be able to. He should be able to survive this.
Katsu gets to play a Yosei. Did he just not make a token? I don't know why he did not make a token there.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah.
Katsuhiro Mori summons Yosei the Morningstar.
1 sec.やっています。
これに対応して、いや、hold on。ちょっと待って。
Katsuhiro Mori was worried about last gasp. That's why he didn't make a token. He knows Karsten has last gasp, so if he tapped out to make a token and Karsten last gasp Hokori, that would be annoying. Or last gasp the Seaborn Muse. That would be really annoying. And there's also the fact that Seaborn Muse doesn't work on his own turn, so... Two different reasons not to make a token. Don't mind me.
Okay. Attack okay?
Time for Mori to attack.
Karsten's at 10. Even with the Putrefy, he doesn't really have enough time here.
Go? Wow. Why doesn't he attack there? What are the drawbacks to attacking?
Winning?
There's not enough mana for Goryo's Vengeance. What card is Katsuhiro Mori playing around that I'm not thinking of? Just chooses not to attack.
In my...
Oh, Karsten forced to lose 2 life to a land that comes into... because he needs his land to come to play untapped.
Okay. At end of turn, Raise Vengeance. You end up down.
Oh, he did have 3 turns.
Yep.
Oh, at Karsten's end of turn.
Yes.
Karsten plays a land, goes into his own end of turn step, because Goryo's Vengeance creatures get destroyed at end of turn. This is a timing loophole that all the pros know, but that may not be common knowledge with casual Magic players. Whenever something says at end of turn, there's actually a time after that when you can do things.
Made most famous at U.S. Nationals by the Waylay ruling.
Right. So this was introduced with 6th edition rules. So during the end of his own turn, Karsten is going to play Goryo's Vengeance. That means the creature that he gets back is going to be in play during Katsuhiro Mori's turn. It's not going to go away until an end of turn step comes around for that triggered ability to trigger and send it to the graveyard. Basically, Karsten wants Kagamaru available as a blocker, and he wants to be able to use it to sweep the board. I still don't understand why Katsuhiro Mori failed to attack for 4.
Why wouldn't he just... Why does he want it as a blocker if he's going to use it to sweep the board?
I'm not sure. I guess it's better than having the surprise value of... He's worried about something. I don't know what.
Yes.
Players are much better than we are.
Goryo's Vengeance costs 2 is the answer to my question. I thought it cost 3, but it's 3 to splice. Its base cost is 2 mana. So Katsuhiro Mori declined his attack phase because he was worried about Goryo's Vengeance. And in fact, he was right to be worried about it. Karsten had it in his hand. Well, Mori knows he's going to lose his board anyway, so might as well serve with everybody. Yosei's going to die again. Karsten is going to be tapped out again.
And we know there's another Yosei waiting in the wings for Katsuhiro Mori.
Yes, we do, but there's not a Hokori.
Right. But there is a Yosei. Skip your untap step.
Is that good enough? Oh, so he summons Yosei. Karsten doesn't get to untap. He attacks for 3. And Karsten's got just enough life left.
Oh, wait. Okay. Sorry?
Does Katsu have a 3rd Yosei? Does that do anything?
You give him 2 turns. It seems like he just wants to serve. He'll serve here for 2.
I'm sure he'll serve. Karsten plays a top. He is planning to untap next turn at 3.
6.
Does Katsuhiro Mori have the last 3 points of damage? He's got a Jite and a greater good. Huh. Does Jite actually get just actually gets Yosei out of Kagamaru range, I think. I mean, the two counters, there's still the Yosei problem. Yosei does indeed bash Karsten to 3.
Feeling he's just going to grade a good here.
Seems reasonable.
6.
He doesn't have any Yoseis left, I guess.
You're right, 8.
5. I wrote down 5. I say 8. Why? No clue. Maybe I like the number.
Shadowed by Faith is wondering why these players are playing with unsleeved cards and they're in such good condition. The answer is?
The answer is the players ran around frantically this morning trying to find copies of the cards so they would be in good condition.
Yeah, they normally play in sleeves, but because of the sleeves glare on the cameras, we want to make sure the cards are easy to see at home over the internet. So we force them to play without sleeves, and we require them to bring unmarked copies of their cards to play.
Tomohiro Kaji was looking around this morning for Llanowar elves. He had these really, beloved black bordered elves that have pretty easily identifiable.
Came out.
Yeah. Easily identifiable, and he was frantically searching for clean elves this morning.
And they do have to bring their own cards. These guys are winning plenty of money. You can afford a couple of 9th edition Llanowar elves. $35,000 to the winner.
Sure, they can afford to buy the original art for Llanowar elves. I mean, the loser doesn't go home with.
I think it's 23 grand.
Yeah, 23. So that's pretty nice prize here. Plus, there's all the attendant money that comes from the Player of the Year race.
Right.
The Pro Player Club. What does this do for Karsten as far as his level?
I'm not sure. You could look that up. Mori as well. I mean, they're both probably were already, level 4-ish. Katsuhiro Mori does indeed play greater good.
Karsten 5, Mori 18.
Oh, Karsten's at 5. Okay. Yeah, I was curious as to why he'd lost that 2 life for that land, because I thought he was untapping under Hikori. Anyway, 18 to 5.
Does he sack the Yosei here? Keep him locked down, or does he try to kill him next turn?
I don't know how he would get to kill him next turn.
Well, he attacks. Oh, he can't. He can't. He has to do it. He has to keep him locked down. He gets the trait. I'm forgetting that Frank Carson, is going to untap and be able to do all the things that his deck does next turn.
Yes. Goryo's Vengeance is in the graveyard.
Solo Survival is in hand.
Although Katsuhiro probably suspects that, but doesn't know that it's true. He knows there's a Hanakami in Frank's hand.
He can also say...
No, wait, he sent Hanakami to the graveyard. He knows there's a Yosei in Frank's hand.
Right.
Yeah, getting his Yosei isn't that bad for Katsuhiro. I mean, if Karsten plays out Yosei, Katsu gets to untap first.
Right, but if he draws 5 cards here, keeps Karsten tapped down for another turn, he's sure to find something.
How much mana does he have to summon that something with, though? Only 3? Maybe he comes up with a land off the greater good that he decides he wants to keep. I think I would lock him down here. I like your play. I like sack Yosei to greater good, draw 5, discard 3, lock down Karsten for another turn. Hopefully you come up with something like Land Hierarch and you can get a threat onto the table, but maybe you come up with another Yosei for next turn. Mori declines. Says go. Carson gets to one tap.
You could do a turn upkeep. Yep.
That doesn't tap everything down, though.
This? No.
Thinks 5 mana is enough? Why would you do it there?
Oh, wait.
He wants to be able to untap. I guess. So by waiting for upkeep, he gets to tap down 5 of Carson's lands. Carson gets to use them for top, but probably nothing else.
I know what's going on.
This means Mori is going to get to untap, play a threat, pass the turn. Carson doesn't get to untap, and then Mori, hopefully, he thinks, gets to attack for the win. It's tricky because it gives Carson 3 lands during his main phase, plus any lands that Carson might be able to play from his hand.
Right.
So it gives Carson some mana, but not enough to really do the stuff that his deck does. It's not enough to play Yosei. It's not enough to activate Hanakami for Vengeance or Soulless Revival anything. I guess that's a small enough amount of mana that Katsu can afford to give him 3, maybe 4. Frank can play Soulless Revival as an instant here, but he can't get back anything that's useful with all of his business spells cost more than 4. Well, as business creatures. That's a tight little play. Like Katsu took our play and he just found a way to do it even a little bit better.
So, this.
Is it really better than leaving him completely tapped?
I think so.
Possibly finding a Hierarch land?
I think so. I think the play of sacking immediately is risky because you certainly have no guarantee of getting a big enough threat to attack. The most likely scenario is you get something too expensive to play. You get North Tree or something. It's too expensive. You can't get it out that turn, and then Carson's going to get to untap before you can attack. This way, Mori gets to untap, play any creature he wants. He's also got an extra draw off his deck to potentially find that. So he increases the odds of finding the right creature and increases the number of his creatures that count as being right. Yeah, I think this play is just better.
Okay. So
I mean, it's very subtle because it's really scary to give somebody 3 lands, but he knows Carson's deck list. It's not like you're worried about anything in particular. He knows exactly what Carson's threats are, and he knows 3 mana is not really enough to hurt him. Discards Jite, Land, and Arashi.
No. Yeah, I use the lights.
So Carson has 41 points, 41 Pro Tour points coming into this event.
41 coming in, so wow, he's playing for level 6. 20 points gets him to 61. He's clinched level 5, but 25 gets him 66. 65 is the cutoff, so that's gigantic. This win is the difference between level 5 and level 6 for Frank Carson.
Both of these players are playing for level 6.
How many does Katsu have?
40.
Same thing.
Right.
So the winner is level 6, and the
both
loser is level 5.
Though, so that means they're invited to the event.
It's $1,500 a Pro Tour, airfare to every event, $250 per Grand Prix. That's awesome, but it's not as good as $2,000 and a hotel for every Pro Tour and $500 for every Grand Prix.
I had 2 black mana left.
Yeah.
He's Soulless Revivaling.
Once, twice, and
Okay.
Yeah, he gets to cast that Soulless Revival.
Land.
Plays a land. Declines to play Hanakami. Why not play Hanakami there?
Sounds like he has a plan.
What's in his hand? Let's
Got
roll
a
that.
Putrefy.
You can still play Hanakami and leave up Putrefy.
He doesn't have any black mana out.
You don't attack next round, right?
No, I don't.
起きないよ。
そうやね。
起きない。起きないよねって聞いたから起きないよってこと。
I would show something like to.
Ooh, there's Yosei. Katsura Mori has Yosei in his hand.
Yes, Hokori
Also has Hokori. Yeah, Dragon. That's the right play. Dragon! He says go. I don't think there's anything Carson can do with 5 mana to negate this. He's 1 mana short of summoning his own Yosei. I don't know that Carson has a way out. He's got to deal with Yosei. If Yosei hits him once, that's it. He's down to 5. Katsu can start to taste it. It's like, I can't figure out how you get out of this. I hope I'm not. He's like me. Like, I hope I don't miss. I'm not missing something.
Top.
Karsten's
Yeah,
looking-
Hanakami is one short of getting back Goryo's Vengeance. Oh, can he Hanakami, activate Hanakami, and play Goryo's Vengeance? Maybe that's his play. That actually has a shot if he came up with black mana, doesn't it?
He can also putrefy if he has black mana.
There's Yosei. Oh, Frank scoops. Wow, great game. Great play from Katsuhiro Mori. I think he won that by, he saw the play of saying go, giving Frank a little bit of mana because he knew it wouldn't be enough mana, and was able to time that Yosei perfectly, giving him just enough time to break through for the win. Well, we're not playing best 3 out of 5 anymore.
Now we're down to normal 2 out of 3.
Now it is best 2 out of 3, although
all sideboarded
all
games.
sideboarded games, which has to favor Katsuhiro Mori. Woo! Wow.
So now,
Great magic.
What happens if Frank decides that he's willing to go to 1 that game?
You expecting me to be able to recreate that off the top
Well, I mean,
of my head?
basically, it was the risk of going to 1.
Yeah.
And
against an opponent with City Tree, among other things.
right, and using your. But then if he untaps, he has all the stuff that his deck does comes online because he gets to untap and he doesn't have to worry about it. He has no fear of Hikori.
The forums are wondering about that Seedborn Muse Yosei interaction.
Yeah, it does. It looks like Seedborn Muse. I mean, Yosei says you skip your untap step. I don't think it affected the game, but
it was gigantic. That's when how he got to play Congregation from Dawn. To go get the Hikori.
He didn't have the mana available to him?
No. Seedborn Muse says untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Yosei says target player skips his or her next untap step.
You want to see it, or?
Anybody out there in the crowd understand this interaction? Are we getting it wrong? That was a gigantic difference in that game.
Was that the turn?
Yeah, that was the turn. He played Seedborn Muse, then untapped, played Congregation, like it was a Yosei turn, so Carson was tapped out. So he went Seedborn Muse, Congregation, to get the Hikori to lock him down. So now somebody else says Seedborn Muse says upkeep. Do you have the Oracle wording? Pull up Gatherer. I'm actually surprised Seedborn Muse would say untap step. Maybe that's what it says on the card, but Oracle is different? Our server slow as everybody slams Gatherer to get the exact wording on Seedborn Muse. I think I have Oracle on my desktop.
It's taking its time here.
I actually do have Oracle on my desktop. I'll race you. It's only a 900-page document. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. I don't get it. I don't understand how that play happened. I'll play. All right, people from the crowd are finally wandering over to explain to me what I'm missing. No, people are wandering over to tell me that I'm right. That's fascinating. I don't think anybody in the room has seen it yet either.
How do we do that? Go back there. Okay.
All right, we'll send runners back and make sure the judges are aware this happened. I have no idea what they could possibly do to repair this state. In fact, they've actually started game 3 now. Wow. a very subtle interaction, but I think the players and the judges all missed it.
I mean, I don't remember the exact time. I remember that happening, but I don't remember if that was also the turn of congregation.
It definitely was.
Okay,
No question. He definitely took advantage of that. He Seaboard Muse. That's how he was able to get Seaboard Muse and Hokori into play. It was otherwise he wouldn't have had time to. Oh, what did he 15 needle here? What's the 15 needle? Sensei Divining Top is the choice this time. Katsura Mori.
Tuned into the coverage and listened to your commentary.
I don't know if I'm right. I mean, he should have said Kagamaru, right? Last game would have been easy if he'd said Kagamaru.
Unexciting start for Karsten.
I just can't keep thinking about that last game. I can't. That's crazy what happened.
Karsten 19. More easily.
If I wasn't in the booth, I could go run back and see what's going on as the word gets back to the judging staff. I have no clue how they're supposed to, what they're supposed to do at this point.
We just sent a couple R&D guys back there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the booth is sequestered from the players. I'm out here with the crowd and the big screen TV, and the players are playing about maybe 100 yards away behind a wall. A couple Wood Elves from Katsuhiro Mori here in Game 3. You know what? You know who I'm surprised missed that? Karsten. How does Karsten miss that? That's why I assumed it must work. Karsten doesn't miss stuff like that.
So isn't he a guild mage? Gets the last gasp. Karsten does not have a fourth land.
That's bad. His deck's very mana hungry anyway.
And there's the Jitte, and we're going to start getting...
yeah, Katsu Consensus. Look how fast he's moving. Look at his hands fly across there. All of a sudden, he's like, whoa, no fourth land. I can win this. I can win this in a hurry. Last game was hard.
This looks a lot like last game, actually.
Yeah, except for the whole Karsten not playing a fourth land bit.
Karsten said into Mori 18.
Brendan,
can you see what how Judge Sheld's memory's up to with this Seaboard Muse situation? You're aware of the Seaboard Muse mistake that you figured out?
Oh. So last game, Mori untapped his land off a Seaboard Muse on the Yosei turn, which shouldn't happen. No one taps that.
So it looks like Mori's outmanning Karsten here about 3-1.
Yeah, fourth land showed
Karsten
up.
did get his fourth land. And is that it's a watery grave in the middle? So if he has gifts, he'll be able to gift this turn.
70. You are 70. 17.
Take 2. Okay.
Karsten 15. Mori 18.
Didn't pump the Wood Elves that turn, just put 4 counters on the Jitte.
Interesting. But yeah, last game he was pumping. Mori seems to have a billion mana.
Yeah. He's
double Wood Elves,
two Wood
City
Elves.
Tree. Oh, there's Greater Good. No fatties though. He's just.
Well, he can make a fatty.
True.
Greater Good looks at the power.
Wow.
Alright. 15.
As if Jitte didn't do enough things.
So right now he can make that a 9/9 Wood Elf.
Yeah, 9/9, draw 9, discard
cards.
3. That seems okay. You should have to ante another card for that. Yeah, well, Brendan, it did last game. It was a crucial play. Mori definitely untapped with Seaboard Muse play on the instant. That's what I'm trying to communicate to Sheldon. The judges just missed it, but it happened. It totally changed the outcome of the game.
Yep. It looks like Mori's going 9 cards deep into his deck.
Wow. No, or just Devin and Aaron went back to look for him and talk to him.
9 cards deep. He's going to have to discard 3 of those. It's not totally broken.
Look at Karsten just laughing. His deck's supposed to be the one using greater good. What all did Katsu come up with?
Looks like he got a Yosei in there.
Well, sounds like the wording has come back from Head Judge Sheldon Menery about the Seedborn Muse situation. The word I hear from my spotter on the floor is it's over, and they are not overturning the game.
Okay. Neither player saw that.
No, I don't think. I still don't think they realize it.
So just for future reference, Yosei and Seedborn Muse is a little bit of a non-bow.
Yeah, it is. Mark Gottlieb would be proud.
That's it?
A bombo, he calls them.
Bombo. And after all that, he just equips Jitte onto a Wood Elf.
Well, I only had 3 mana left, right?
Okay.
Maury seems a little surprised that there's not a Gifts Ungiven thrown in there.
Oh, lucky. Lucky man.
Lucky man. Finally got his green mana.
Time. You are so lucky. 15.
Karsten still has a lot of life to maneuver here.
Yeah.
But
7 lands?
His opponent just picked a hand.
he's going to go into the Yosei makeover chamber next round, though. Next turn, though.
Yeah.
Maury's got the Yosei in hand. He's gonna draw 5. He'll find another Yosei. Should be.
He's got to find a damage source, I guess.
I mean.
Wood Elf plus Jitte takes
5/5. Wood Elves are pretty good.
He needs 3 or 4 turns, though.
He's gonna have them. He's also got a Congregation of Dawn in hand.
Oh,
so
never mind then.
Just go get his Yoseis right now.
Got it. Oh wow. Okay. There you go. Yeah, Karsten thought he had a chance. Now realizes no.
Okay.
He's not even going to make him go through the motions.
Katsuhiro
Mori takes a 2-1 lead. Wow, bit some mana problems from Karsten, and greater good plus a Jitte. Turns out Wood Elf is worth 9 cards.
Looks
like
like
Sheldon is approaching the table, I think. The players may learn now what should have happened in Game 2 so they don't make the same mistake again.
Looks like David Bogan is double-checking the wording in Seedborn Muse there.
I don't even know that you tell him, right?
If he goes to the bathroom, go with him so that it doesn't get lost.
Katsuhiro Mori taking a short bathroom break. Judge will follow him, make sure he doesn't get lost. Huh. Yeah, I don't know that they should even tell Frank Karsten about that play. I mean, next time it comes up, the judges can enforce it correctly, but... Well, Sheldon walks up.
Scott Jones is showing Sheldon what happened.
I guess so.
We keep the player audio, Bruce? Very much like
Thank Yeah, here it is.
The previous
Game
game.
2.
And when
Seedborn Muse doesn't untap lands while using its PC.
you skip the untap.
Frank is learning.
And Seedborn modifies the untap. So if he triggers a Yosei on you and you skip your next untap step, he doesn't get to untap anything on your turn.
Say again? I don't really get it.
If he resolves Yosei's triggered ability and makes you skip your untap step, and he has Seedborn Muse in play, when it comes to your turn, he doesn't get to untap anything.
Because there's no untap step.
Because there's no untap step.
Right.
Okay. Did this happen?
The
turn he played Congregation
was it
of
that
Dawn?
turn? Not entirely sure if it was that turn. I mean, you have the coverage.
There's no way Karsten's going to remember this. It definitely happened. We have the tape.
I can barely remember which turn it happened.
I have a crystal clear memory of it.
You have the video in theory, right? Yeah, the video shoot you. So let me check what I've got here. Oh, hold on. Okay. I've got it right here. Something right here.
Very weird, yeah. Weird little subplot here at the World Championships.
Like you said, a lot of cards don't usually trigger on an untapped step, much less your opponent's untapped step.
Right.
It's a pretty arcane set of interactions.
Sheldon, I've actually got that play-by-play to help.
Scott John, sideboard reporter, does have the play-by-play.
So a lot of times when we're doing sideboard reporting, what we'll do is we'll take pretty detailed notes.
Yeah.
You know, people look over my shoulder while I'm writing coverage, and they assume I'm just like sort of crafting paragraph after paragraph. And really what you're just trying to do is keep up and keep track of all the key plays. So Scott probably has some pretty detailed notes of what happened on each turn. And then you go back and you go in the back room and you try to sort of craft a story out of it.
Makes sense.
So it should be fairly easy to find, too.
Frank untaps, plays Kigamara, and uses a glass man and blows up the world. Okay. Next turn, Seaborn moves. Says go. At the end of Frank's tapped turn, cast Contribution at Dawn.
Yep.
Oh, he played Contribution the same turn he played Muse.
He played Seaborn.
But how much mana do we have? Do we have enough mana to...
Frank took his tapped turn, which was the Yosei turn. And then, at the end of that turn, Congregation of Dawn was played.
Yep.
Thanks to the untapped.
Yep, Scott Johns has got it right. That's exactly the way I remember the play-by-play.
But the way I remember the Congregation of Dawn, there's only 4 mana untapped.
Doesn't matter what the say. If it's a turn where there's no untapped step, then there's no untapped step. He didn't have 7 mana, I don't think.
It's more than 7 mana.
It was Hokori's
I think he
Seaborn
eventually
moves.
selected to the Credicutes. Yeah, like remember I was planning to kill it myself, but...
No, you didn't have the mana. You had
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think he has a greater good. I don't think he has a greater good.
Apparently,
I don't think so.
you have
I need a translator. This is not going to work, Frank.
Then my turn. No untap because of Yosei. And you untap.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Of course, the Yosei died because of the
It doesn't affect anything, Scott.
I'm going to do this one more time, just make sure we got it all. So here's what I've got. Yes, some didn't have.
We have film.
He untaps. He plays Kigamara. He blows up the world. He plays Seaborn Muse. So Frank's next step we go to Frank's step. This is when he's not going to untap.
Yeah, I thought the word came through that they weren't going to reverse it.
This is also the turn that he untapped using his Seaborn Muse, and at the end of Frank's turn, cast Congregation of Dawn. So he definitely did untap on the turn when he shouldn't have.
Now the question has gotten to our director as to whether they can roll back the tape and show it. Confident that can be done. I don't know if we have to go offline in order to do it. I can hear it on my headset. They're asking the director if it's possible to stop and go back and look at it. I haven't heard what that answer is. I don't know why. I don't know if it matters. I don't know what they can do about it. Right? I have no idea what they can do about it.
It's like a call at first base.
Weird things have been happening lately at the top 8s.
Frank speaks the truth there. Weird things have been happening in the top 8. That's definitely true.
Okay.
Start. Doesn't hurt to shuffle, but I wouldn't check for mulligan.
Yeah, are these players supposed to go play game 4?
Is it possible that Mori gets some kind of warning for procedural error?
Seaborn Use doesn't work if you have Yosei skip the untap.
こっちのですか？はい。相手の。
And now Katsuhiro Mori hears about it. Really?
Yes, sir.
相手にシュートボン、あれ、要請出てました。影丸だけ別に連れてられたんじゃないですか。
Ah, it does sound like the directors can roll back the tape.
で、相手の場に要請いなかったです。
He's the judge of the red and white stripes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the judges are the ones who want to see it. It sounds like we can't actually play it back on air. We can't do the instant replay thing. Obviously, these are going to show up in archive, so you guys have the chance to go back and watch the turn for yourselves tomorrow or whenever the archives get posted.
But the refs
we do
can
have
go
the
under
ability
the hood?
on site. The refs can go under the hood. That's exactly right. The refs can go under the hood. They can look at the replay on the computers back there that are storing this, getting ready to put the archives together, and they can look at it there.
And again, to what purpose is my question?
I wrote down because it was such a cool trick.
Yeah.
I believe they do.
I have a question to ask about.
Interesting. Now Sheldon's back again.
I have a question to ask about that particular turn. When did either of you ask the judge about the interaction of Seaborn Muse and Yosei?
陽星とシードボンミューズの関係について質問したことしましたか？
してないです。
なるほど。
Okay.
その普通に
Did when you passed the turn after Yosei triggered and resolved, did you make any indication to Frank that he would not untap?
陽星が死んだ後に、実はアンタップしないよってことをちゃんと言いましたね。
He knew he wasn't untapping.
あんたアンタップしないよって言いましたね。
いや、ターゲットを取っただけです。
Just saying the target.
Oh, no, not during the turn that Yosei died, but on Frank's turn. Did he make?
相手のターンに
I don't think Katsu said anything. I think Frank knew he wasn't untapping, right?
Right. I would assume so.
I mean, I believe Sheldon's trying to...
Been on the wrong end of a Yosei before.
Did he remind Frank to not untap?
相手のターンに、このターンは起きないからねとか、相手がアンタップするときに言いましたか？
I think Sheldon's trying to get a sense of...
Intent? Or...
Right. Did Katsu do this deliberately? I don't think so.
He thinks has to understand about it, so just let him know.
Okay.
Yep.
Did he remind you to not untap?
I don't think he specifically did.
Okay.
But like you have it on camera, right?
That's what they're pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Okay. So please bear with us.
Yeah, Sheldon has walked off with Scott. Pretty sure they're going to look at the video. I presume they don't want Game 4 to start, so we'll be waiting for the judges to sort this out. Wow. What would you do here if you're the head judge?
I think there would be a procedural error, a warning, and again, it's both players. Both players are responsible for knowing how the cards are working.
Right.
My intent, and I would say that, in my mind, and then it's like a blown call at first base.
Right. No way to reverse it.
There's no way to reverse it.
Yeah, I definitely do not think anything intentional was done here.
No.
I'm as convinced as I could be that it was an innocent mistake. I mean, I think that it was innocent. I think if Sheldon could determine that someone intentionally took advantage of that, they'd be DQ'd from the entire tournament.
And that's his job to determine that.
Right. I think that was the questioning we just saw there. That was the interrogation. Did Katsuhiro Mori understand this interaction and deliberately screw Frank Karsten? I think the answer is clearly no.
I don't think that's what happened at all. It didn't seem that way.
No, I agree completely. It didn't seem that way. It was... They didn't understand the interaction. It's a very weird, obscure, subtle interaction, and both players missed it, and the judges that were watching the match missed it. Yeah, we were wondering about it. The forums were wondering about it. It even took us a while to piece it together. So now the head judge is circling up with, he's looked at the video. He's trying to figure out, what do we do? Oh, he's coming over to look at the video. He's first updating people. Got some WotC personnel over there. That's Chris Galvin. He very rarely appears on camera. You can just barely see him.
I don't think
you can't see him.
Camera.
I got a camera that can almost see him. The reclusive Chris Galvin. And it's starting to dawn on Karsten what has happened here.
For game 4?
For game 4.
Okay.
I mean, that's when they use this. Well, they can be used this.
I assume they could go ahead and
so we can,
resolve their mulligans. And
they may as well resolve mulligans. That's certainly true. I doubt they want to start the game, though.
Yeah, we can...
Fascinating. Yeah, let's say Sheldon goes back. He confirms what we believe happened, which is that Katsuhiro Mori did untap lands with Seedborn Muse on a Yosei turn. What does he do about it?
I don't see how you could do anything other than...
missed it.
I think it's a warning for procedural error. I don't think it's the kind of thing you would upgrade to a game loss.
I don't know.
It's not intentional, right? What is
Although
so?
a game loss a game loss doesn't seem entirely unfair.
Not entirely. It's procedural error.
I mean, it's
is
certainly
it
unfair
minor?
to let Karsten lose the game because of a procedural error.
So procedural error, there's procedural error minor and procedural error major, right?
Right.
And what are the recommended penalties for those things?
I don't know the recommended penalties. I haven't been a TO for some time.
Say again?
I said I haven't been a TO for some time, so I haven't kept up.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of chatter going on in our ears here.
Yeah, we now hear the
lots of different languages. Japanese commentators are trying to understand what's happening.
Right.
Sorry.
So we have. If you hear us talking to people who aren't here, we're trying to sort through all of this.
Yeah, there's some WotC personnel standing around. Elaine Chase, sideboard reporter Scott Johns. Yeah.
There's Craig Gibson, the elusive Craig Gibson.
Oh, the photographer. He's never on camera. He's always behind the camera.
He's taking a picture where you could see a reflection of him in someone's eye.
Oh, over on the other camera, you've got Sheldon. Oh, put the Sheldon picture up.
Yeah, we see there. It really does look like they're under the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, our videographer John Mortensen is playing back the
Mort
the video.
Is awesome.
Yeah,
he's got the computer. He's the one who gets the podcast files cleaned up. He's the one that puts the video together, those end of day wrap ups, goes out and shoots all the video for us. There you go. That's seated at the computer is John Mortensen. He's the tech advisor. He gets head judge Sheldon Menery looking at the tape. Well, it's not a tape. It's a digitized file. I'm going to keep calling it a tape. What am I supposed to call it, right? Scott Larrabee, the Pro Tour manager, leading in. A couple judges, a couple reporters. And the white shirt does belong to Wizards of the Coast Vice President of Organized Play, Chris Galvin. Craig going over to get the photo op. An unusual photo opportunity for Mr. Craig Gibson.
Yeah.
God, what's going through Frank and Katsu's minds
Craig's
here?
not even taking pictures. He's also like crowding in there. He's like, what's going on?
R&D member Paul Sotosanti's been doing coverage here. I believe he's the tall one next to Larrabee.
The world's tallest game designer. As he's known here in Japan.
We got to see if we get more people in this shot. That's what we need. More people crowded around the computer. I want to see. Can I get out of the booth and go see?
Sure, go ahead.
You might get lonely.
I could do some karaoke.
Getting lonely, by the way, are Frank Karsten and Katsuhiro Mori just sitting at their table. They've got hands in front of them to play a potential game 4. They both believe Katsuhiro Mori's up 2-1, but Karsten's finally, I think, starting to realize what happened to him in game 2, and he's got to be beginning to wonder.
Look at his body language. He's got his arms crossed over his body, and he seems kind of very tense through the shoulders.
Katsu's not exactly comfortable.
Now he's
But I mean, I think for Karsten, this is good news, right? Nothing bad for him can come out of this. He might mize a game 2 win.
Right.
Like maybe this is a procedural error that's deemed to be major enough that the game 2 result would be overturned.
I have a sense that I don't think it's going to end up in a game loss. Scott Johns is explaining something here. Looks like he's saying safe.
Brendan, what is Scott Johns saying to the players?
Yeah, Sheldon is hunkered down, looking at the computer screen, looking at the video.
Well, now Craig's taking some pictures.
Yeah, Scott Johns was just reiterating that the players are in a holding pattern. They are not to start game 4. Karsten's starting to smile a little bit. Like I said, if I'm Frank Karsten, I'm happy about this.
Right, you thought you'd lost that game
exactly.
Before. Now you see a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if this is
going on here.
I don't know if this is a game loss caliber offense. It's clearly unintentional, but it is I don't know, fairly major procedural error. Is this procedural error? Is it minor? Is it major? Is it?
I mean, it's
clearly
it's untapping under Winter Orb, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, but not really, right? It's really obscure. This plus that plus that.
Right.
Kinda.
Right.
I'm sure precedents that involve Winter Orb are outdated. How about that?
Yeah. We have not on screen, but we have judge who looks pretty upset about the whole thing.
Oh, the table judge.
Table judge
is not happy.
He looks distraught.
I don't know how many people saw this. Like nobody in the crowd yelled about it.
And we said something. We're like, how does that
We
work?
even wondered aloud how it worked, and the forums were like, you could actually go back and read the forums as they start piecing it together. Like one guy says this, and then they're arguing about it, and they eventually came to the same conclusion we did, which is that shouldn't have actually happened.
Right.
But I don't think that anybody. I'm actually surprised this hasn't come up before. I mean, Seaborn Muse isn't that obscure a card. Yosei certainly sees a lot of play.
Seaborn Muse is a reprint in 9th edition.
Oh, so 9th just came out a couple of months ago, I guess.
Yeah, more or less. It's still fairly new.
Okay.
It's not a common played card. It's this kind of really narrow card that was selected for this deck for the mirror match.
Yeah, I have no idea why it doesn't trigger at the beginning of the upkeep either. I mean, like, if you asked me what the wording was, I called it a trigger. They were correcting me in the forums.
Right.
I called it a trigger. I just assumed it would trigger at the beginning of upkeep.
I think that's why it starts. I think that's why, right? It's a fixed awakening.
Oh, right. You know why? I remember the development meetings now. I was on the development team that built that card, and we really did not like the way with Awakening, how you could put the trigger on the stack, respond to it by tapping all your stuff, and then get an untap. It was like you got to use your stuff 3 times in this weird way, and that felt so unfair that we decided...
You could do it at the beginning of your turn. At the beginning of your turn, you could do it at the beginning of your opponent's turn.
Right. We decided that we didn't want that bizarre timing trick, so we went with a fairly non-standard template. We decided to modify the untap step so it worked the way that sort of intuitively, casually people would think it should work, right? Yeah, I think that we didn't. It just feels like cheating when you put the Awakening trigger on the stack at the beginning of upkeep, then tap your creatures. What feels like cheating? When it's like for a player who doesn't have an intimate knowledge of the rules, when they play against someone who puts the Awakening trigger on the stack and then taps all their stuff and then allows the Awakening trigger to resolve and untaps all their stuff again, that person feels like something unfair has happened. And we wanted to avoid that sort of rules timing trick, so we templated Seedborn Muse to modify the untap step.
Right.
Yeah, that's all coming back to me now.
And now Frank's sitting here feeling like something unfair has happened to him. Wow, this is I was at Japanese Nationals this year, and we had.
Were you there?
I was there.
So what was that situation? Because I never quite understood exactly what happened.
So
it's very analogous, right?
Yes, it's absolutely very analogous. There's a match between Takuma Morofuji and I don't remember the name of the other player, and they're playing for the final game.
The championship of Japanese Nationals, right?
Japanese Nationals.
For the title.
And
like $10,000 too.
The player sacrifices there's a Sword of Fire and Ice in play, protection from red, and a player makes a play using sacrificing a Frostling.
Okay.
And he can't make it. There's no legal target. He sacks it.
Oh, because the Frostling was wearing the sword?
The Frostling's wearing the sword, so he wants to sack it.
It has protection from red.
It has protection from red. That's exactly what it was. He wanted to sack it to itself.
Right. Normally, you can always sack a creature with the sack ability. You just target itself.
Right. And it had a major impact on the game. The other player was briefly declared the Japanese national champion. Like, hey,
really?
Well, this game's over. This guy's just won. And then one of the judges got together and they talked about it. They said, is this right? What happened here? And the players talked about it and the judges talked about it. And there was a crew doing a documentary about Japanese nationals and Japanese national teams. And they had cameras behind each player's hands.
Wow.
Continuously. I mean, it's important to distinguish this, right? This was a really unusual situation. They had every single card drawn and and the decks hadn't been shuffled and they could do all this stuff. And so both players agreed that they wanted a fair result.
So they just rolled it back and replayed the game from that point?
To that exact state.
Wow.
And replayed. Now, the decks are shuffled, obviously.
Okay.
The decks are not exactly the same order.
Oh, so they went back to that point and then shuffled the decks?
And then shuffled.
So the players were drawing different cards?
So the players were drawing different cards.
Wow.
And had a different outcome. And Takuma Morofuji, who just won
the team title.
Won
that was how he got national champion.
That's how he became the national champion.
That second place player, by the way, rescinded, so he was not actually on the Japanese national team.
And that let Ichiro Shimura,
who had finished fourth,
was the alternate, get in.
Wow, so that seems like very analogous. I mean, it's not quite the same thing. I doubt we could recreate we couldn't recreate every hand. There's a chance we have their hands at the time of the misplay.
Right.
That's entirely possible.
But you have Sensei's divining top shuffles. You have all this information and decisions that go into the game in this game. It's much more complicated. This was a much more straightforward goblin-y versus something match. There wasn't a lot of deck manipulation or control elements or card drawing or putting stuff on the bottom of the library or anything like that. And it was a pretty stunning thing to be a part of, and to watch that happen.
This isn't stunning? This is pretty stunning. I don't even know how it's going to turn out, but I mean, just the fact that this has happened is kind of surprising.
I mean, I'm sitting here, yeah, I feel like as we're talking, I'm just watching it. I'm just sort of stunned by the sight of all these people, in front of all the computers in that back room and talking about this. And players have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they know what's going on, but do they know how it's going to get resolved? All right, Sheldon looks like he is coming out from underneath the hood. Now what?
Will the play stand, or will it be overturned?
Mort waves to the camera. We pan back. There's the technical room. That's the nerve center behind this webcast, behind the whole weekend. The podcast, the streaming video.
Making my wireless card work.
Making our wireless cards work, exactly. That's the nerve center, and I assume Sheldon is making his way back out to the players. There's the players. I'm sure they're... Wow. The Magic the Gathering World Championships on the line. All that history. Not to mention $12,000. Not to mention the difference between the winner levels up to level 6, and that's worth what? $500 per Pro Tour is $2,500, plus hotels at every Pro Tour. Plus the hotels.
Plus, I don't know if it...
Grand Prix appearance fee is several thousand. There's probably close to $20,000 on the line in this match.
Right.
No. Wait.
The players do sometimes split the prize money, but even still, level 6 alone is worth easily $5,000, probably closer to $8,000. Oh, and by the way,
I watched the tape.
All right, here we go.
A lot of data from it, but it seems as though that I want to make it very clear to both of you that if Yosei has resolved, Seedborn Muse doesn't untap anything on the skip untap step.
I don't think they're going to forget that again, Sheldon. Still, obviously, the right thing for the judge to do.
No. Okay. Yeah, because you skip the unstep, you skip the untap step, and Seedborn Muse says on each opponent's untap step, do something. So you can't do something on a step to skip. Yeah. Given that everybody involved missed it, I'm going to warn you for procedural error, because it's your card. You should know how it works correctly.
Looks like it's just a warning.
That's pretty much what I thought it would be.
I agree.
Okay.
I understand that you guys have already resolved mulligans and everything on this game, on game 4.
We were stopped when you had 6 cards.
Okay, that's fine. We'll continue on from here.
All right. Head judge issues a warning to Katsuhiro Mori for procedural error, and the result stands. I think the thing he was looking for on the videotape was anything intentional? Was it anything other than an innocent mistake?
Right.
He looked at the tape, like you heard him say, I got a lot of data from it.
Right.
I think it's crystal clear to Sheldon, having watched the tape, that A, the mistake did happen, and B, that it was an completely innocent mistake. Therefore, it's a procedural error. Katsu does get a warning, but nowhere near enough evidence to actually reverse the outcome of the game or issue any penalty more severe than a warning. I think that's the right call.
I think so. If you go back and read the blog, I think from Friday, I did an interview with Sheldon about sort of the difficulties of judging Worlds with so many different languages and all the different concerns. And we also talked about when you're making a ruling, what are you looking for? How do you determine intent? How do you determine the difference between an accidental rules infraction and an intentional? And if you go back and read it, it's a pretty interesting insight into how Sheldon handles a situation like this, and probably explains why this worked out the way it worked out. Every infraction is assumed to be unintentional until you find some evidence that it was more nefarious than that.
Right.
And then at that point, things become disqualifiable offenses.
Yeah, the penalty guidelines are definitely set up. There's certain penalties for infractions, but if anybody's intentionally cheating, bounce them. Get them the hell out of the tournament.
Right. So I think good job by Sheldon there.
I think so. And I don't think any of us will forget that interaction again in the future.
Absolutely not. I have a feeling we'll be reading about that interaction a lot on the internet for the next couple of weeks, actually.
All right, meanwhile, Game 4. Katsuhiro Mori is 1 game away from becoming the world champion. He's 1 game away from completing Japan's Triple Crown. Can he pull it off? Well, he had a mulligan in this game. Not in great shape from the start. He's got no pressure. He hasn't actually played a spell yet. Another relevant point to that judging call there. Both players are actually responsible for making sure that the game is played correctly. So, yeah, Katsuhiro Mori didn't know the interaction of his cards, but Frank Carson didn't know them either. And I think that's part of the reason why you don't upgrade in a situation like that, because, I mean, Carson is certainly responsible for making sure the game gets played correctly in addition to Katsuhiro Mori.
All right, well, Frank Carson has a turn 4 gifts ungiven going on here.
Yeah, this game looks great for Frank.
And nothing for Katsumori, who just said boom boom.
No, it's Karsten said boom boom.
Oh, Karsten said boom boom.
I think. I mean, that's what the gifts is for. Boom booms. Yosei, Kagamaru, Ink Eyes, and Moloku.
It's a legendary convention.
Which boom boom do you wish to die to, Katsuhiro?
He wishes to die to Ink Eyes.
Kill me with a ninja. And a dragon.
Carson's got a little ground to make up here. He's down 2-1 now.
Yeah. So, it's looking good to force Game 5 right now.
Yep. Okay.
I'd like to get a look at Mori's hand, see what he's got going on. I wonder if he's got just a more top-heavy draw, Greater Good and Legends and stuff like that. Looks like a lot of land, actually. And,
hey, a spell. Locks it on Hierarch. 4/4, gain 4 life.
A lot of land on top of Carson's deck. Another locks it on Hierarch, 2 or 3 lands, and another card that I haven't been able to identify in. Oh, it might be 4 lands in Mori's hand. Oh, it's a Greater Good. It's Greater Good racing against Yosei. It's interesting how much Carson's deck. Does it ever remind you of the old Pro Tour Dallas Shallow Grave deck?
Wow, that's actually from before my time.
Yeah, it was, I forget who played it, but you would Shallow Grave Nickel Bolas, hit your
opponent, yeah, I remember that deck.
Empty their hand. Not quite the same. I mean, Yosei only taps all your lands down, but it's the same idea. Goro's Vengeance definitely has that feeling like Shallow Grave. I know that apparently Billy Jensen was thinking about bringing that deck to Grand Prix Philadelphia for the Legacy tournament. I was a little disappointed he didn't show up. It seems like it would have been a lot of fun to watch in action. Yep. And Ink Eyes is in play, just straight up, no ninjing.
What's he going to pick up, Yosei?
Walked right through the front door. Greater Good in play. I think actually this match looks really, really good for Katsumori.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to be able to draw through his deck. I mean, he can rip through 4 cards deep right now. He finds a Yosei.
He's being attacked by Ink Eyes and Yosei.
He's not being attacked by anything at the moment. He's got a Yosei in hand. He's going to play Yosei. He's going to tap him down. He's going to draw 5 cards.
He untaps second with that play.
Oh, there's another Yosei. That's right. Yep, I'm forgetting about the damn second Yosei. How about, I think Katsumori could draw a lot of cards this game. How's the reaction on the boards been to that whole situation?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading through. They're sort of split. Some of them wanted a game loss. Some of them, most of the people who seem to have experience judging have concluded it seems like procedural error major, and the recommended penalty for that is a warning. He doesn't get to game loss until you go up to procedural error severe. And this doesn't sound severe. It seems like it's more analogous to the examples of procedural error major. Doesn't stop some people from saying game loss. Other people want to erase the game. Other people want to roll back the film, just like Japanese nationals.
I mean, that was a really rare exception. I know a number of judges hated the idea of what happened at Japanese nationals just because they don't want to have to, that always sort of gets trotted out there now, right? People say, oh, let's roll it back, but it's really really difficult to do without just absolutely perfect information.
Yeah.
And even with the perfect information, it's difficult to do because you have a lot of stuff, cards on top, cards on the bottom. I don't think it's something you can ever really. That's the last result I think you really want there.
Yeah.
And I think putting the onus on the players is fair here. And the players do need to know what's going on and take the time, think about what's in play, and stuff is you're gonna miss some stuff. It's gonna happen occasionally. Judges are gonna miss stuff. Players are gonna miss stuff. So there's a lot of cards out there, a lot of interactions.
Meanwhile, Katsura Mori elected to play a second Hierarch. No greater good action. Not yet. He's got 19 life to play with. He's probably going to get attacked here by both Yosei and Inkais.
Sure.
And then do you block Inkais?
Block Inkais, damage on the stack,
force Carson to regenerate, and then sack?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like the right play.
Draw 4, discard 3.
1,600 posts and counting in the forum.
Wow. I imagine there's going to be a lot of activity in the wake of that whole situation.
And it's 2 in the morning on the West Coast right now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Wait,
5 a.m. on the East.
How long have we been doing this?
6:45 to 7, 10 hours?
Holy cow. Well, if any of you guys have stuck around through this whole thing, kudos to you. That's a lot of endurance.
I would be if I was home. This is awesome.
My bad. Well, that's true. At home, you get a cup of coffee, you walk up. Their legs probably don't hurt like my legs hurt right now.
I would be sitting in a more comfortable chair if I was home. It's true. I'm still delighted to be here.
Yes, lest anyone accuse us of not liking our jobs.
So Yosei and Inkais head into the red zone for Frank Karsten. Mori trying to decide what to do. We think the play is block with Hierarch, force Karsten to spend some mana regenerating Inkais, and then sack it to greater good.
Of course, then you set up a situation where suddenly Karsten can be Inkaising out. I mean, there's nothing in his graveyard that he wants to protect. There's nothing in his graveyard.
He can take 10?
No, that's what he's thinking about right now.
Well, the question is, does he want to do greater good? Like, he might want to just sack Hierarch to greater good anyway, in which case, obviously, you soak up 5 damage first.
Right.
I mean, I suspect that Mori would like to draw 4, discard 3 anyway. Yeah, fine. You put a creature in the graveyard for Inkais, but with greater good going on for Katsu, shouldn't get hit by Inkais.
Well, he also doesn't know Frank. I mean, he's got to think about, does Frank going to tap him out? Frank has a second Yosei to play. What's going to happen here? What happens? Frank still has a whole other main phase.
Yep,
and he's got to think about.
That's definitely true.
But yep, there we go. Block damage on the stack. May have just decided to do it mostly to. He gets to tap 2 mana. Frank's that limits Frank's options.
There is Katsu's hand. It's Hokori, Celestian Guildmage, and Brushland.
Is that Hokori or is that another Yosei?
I thought it was Hokori. I might have misread it. Seaborn Muse, Bird of Paradise, Pithing Needle, and a land. Oh, it's Yosei. You're right. Interesting. Has to discard 3 of those. Sanctuary, Bird, and I think you want the land.
So it's interesting. He can keep the Pithing Needle here and name Ink Eyes, and then Ink Eyes is unable to regenerate.
Potentially. Looks like he's going to pitch both lands. Clearly the Karoo is going down.
I think Karoo's going to catch on.
I don't know. I hope not.
It's pretty clumsy.
I hope somebody's got something better.
We just call them bounce lands or guild lands.
But guild lands is ambiguous, right?
Sure.
The uncommons, I think, are the guild lands. The, like, Milieu for 1.
Oh, sure.
Like,
sure.
Mitsugazi City Tree, I think, is a guild land. You know, it's the land, it's the guild home. It's where the guild lives. They live in the city tree.
Karoo it is.
Bounce land's okay, too.
I think that's mostly what people refer to them as.
Bounce lands?
Yeah, just
all right,
bounce lands.
Bounce lands. Yep. I just lapse into playtest names occasionally.
Tough decision here.
Yeah, it's really a question of he kind of wants to develop his mana base.
He's going to get rid of the Pithing Needle.
Yeah, what's he going to need? Like a Needle Top? That good? But, I mean, having cards, he doesn't have giant creatures to sack to the greater good, so he kind of wants cards in his hand. Yeah, it's a tough call. Looks like he wants to keep the bird, which is kind of interesting to me.
Bird buys him a turn.
Right. Needle down. Kept the brush land, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, locks it on Hierarch, comes in.
That's spectacular. It's hilarious. It's spectacular.
Seaborn Muse. Seaborn Muse versus Yosei. We have seen this before. And there's Bird of Paradise.
Bounce land.
Oh, and the bounce land.
There we go. That wasn't so hard.
And a turn.
Ooh, gifts I'm given from Frank. Yeah, he could have Pithing Needled Ink Eyes there. With his Seaborn Muse play, he's going to have a Hierarch available to block it. Kind of weird that combat damage would be relevant to this match. But it could have been. Yeah, this match after sideboarding is just bizarre. I'm not sure I even understand what matters to whom or how you can tell when you're winning. I mean, I guess you're winning if the other guy's locked under Yosei. It's about the only clue I've deduced so far.
Looks like Frank is looking at Yosei and all the recursion cards right there. Looks like he was looking at Yosei, Death Denied, Soul Survival, and Vengeance. But now, if Frank sacrifices his Yosei, Seaborn Muse will be a way out. Because Frank will still have an untapped step.
Right.
So Seaborn Muse will still work. And
Katsuzumori works during Frank's untapped step.
Right. So he will get out from under the from the Yosei with the Seaborn Muse. We've learned a lot of stuff today. We learned how Seaborn Muse interacts with your own Yosei. We learned that you don't have to find 4 cards
with gifts
ungiven. I'm sure a number of the people out here in these seats obviously knew that. We got some of the best pros in the world sitting out here watching the screen, watching the match live. But you and I were a little surprised by it. So,
all right, so the gift split is Yosei, Hanakami, Soulless Revival, and
Vengeance.
Goryo's Vengeance. What do you give him?
I think you give him a Yosei.
Yeah, Seaborn Muse is gigantic here as Yosei defense. You can afford to give him a Yosei, and if it wasn't for Seaborn Muse, Frank could just deprive Katsuhiro of 2 on-tap steps.
Right.
But the Seaborn Muse pretty effectively negates that.
Unless Carson has a Putrefy, or what's the power and toughness on a Seaborn Muse?
2-4, I believe.
2-4, and last gas was going to do it. He'd have to actually have Putrefy.
Right. Well, trust me, the forums have already pointed that out. And we do have people who've apparently been with us since the beginning.
Oh, congratulations. Nice job, guys.
Joe Roy is the first one I noticed. People wondering if this is the longest Pro Tour Finals ever. I'm pretty sure that answer is no. I don't even think it's the longest Worlds in the last 3 years.
No, Berlin
was longer. I mean, we're still in Game 4, but...
It was wake on wake.
The early Pro Tours, too. Pro Tour 1 and Pro Tour 2 were ridiculously long.
Mark Rosewater scribbling something.
Of course. We knew that get him up out of his seat.
He's going to know.
Was it 12 hours PT 1?
Oh, that's right.
And it didn't even finish, right? They declared it to be 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 5.
That's right.
12 hours was enough.
Just couldn't deal with the hollowed ground.
Yeah, we're still a couple hours away from that record.
This whole tournament's not going to take that long.
So Katsuhiro has decided to chump the Yosei with his Bird of Paradise. He's also put Hierarch in front of Inkai's again. I suspect the same play. I think
he can regenerate his bird here.
That's good.
Funny. Yes, he can.
But then he doesn't get to dig 4 cards deep. So yeah, probably not.
Oh, no, he's going to dig with Greater Good. Yeah, Katsuhiro decided to keep that land and then drew land off the top. It was sort of unfortunate for him. His hand's actually awful, given that Greater Good had lost turn.
What it does.
A little late to be reading it now, Frank.
Hey. Just wants to make sure.
Regenerate Inkai, sacrifice, blocks of Hierarch.
Yep. What does he draw?
Does it naturalize?
Arashi? And a Guild Mage?
Guild Mage.
Didn't see the other one. And he lets the bird die.
Looks like 2 Arashis.
The bird's going to die. 2 Arashis? There's a naturalize.
Is that 3 Arashis? 2 Arashis and a Yosei.
Hand's a little better than it was before this.
He can actually kill the Yosei right now. No,
Looks like he's discarding a land, naturalize.
Sorry? Bathroom. Oh, okay.
And Katsuhiro Mori requires a restroom break. Gonna finish his play. And he's off. Nope. Frank's not done with his turn yet either.
Talk about making your opponent uncomfortable. Force him to sit there.
Funny. Karsten plays. Yosei. So he double triggers both the Yoseis. Katsuhiro is going to be deprived of his next 2 untap steps.
But he will get to untap stuff during
Yes.
Frank's untap steps.
Yes, that's
This
correct.
is different than when
Absolutely.
the Yosei was controlled by Mori. Hopefully Frank understands that.
Says each other player's untap step. Okay. All of Katsuhiro's stuff is tapped.
And then he's going to go tap something else.
The timing does help Frank, though, because Frank did it main phase. Because the Yosei's died on Frank's main phase, he's already passed his untap step, so Katsuhiro won't get the chance to do anything on his own main phase. He will get to untap on Frank's turn, but he can't summon any creatures. I mean, we know he's got Arashi and Yosei in his hand. He will not have an opportunity to summon those. And this means that Frank is either going to hit him with Ink Eyes or the Seedborn Muse is going to die.
Right. He doesn't have a city tree in play, does he?
I don't think so. Pithing Needle and Ink Eyes would actually have been relevant here. It's really bizarre.
I've seen it happen. I saw it happen a couple times during the. While I didn't play the deck during block season, I did watch some people play it, and I saw that happen a couple of times. You know,
I wonder how it would have played out. Frank would have just not attacked with Ink Eyes into Hierarch.
He would have just attacked with. He would have just attacked.
Just attacked with Yosei. And so Katsuhiro would have been forced to sack his Hierarch for no gain.
Correct. He got no gain anyway.
I mean, it would be in the same position. Ink Eyes would still be alive because Carson just would have declined the attack with it, right?
Right.
That was fast.
18.
Yeah.
I'm very glad he took his mic off, by the way. That has happened once before.
Oh, no.
Yes. Trevor Blackwell, U.S. Nationals. Got to hear him go to the bathroom. It was... At least it was a commercial break. The audience was not subjected to it. He did wash his hands, though, so that was good.
Yeah, Mori was just checking to make sure he definitely untaps here, and he does.
Yep.
That really is a very, very narrow, specific interaction between 2 cards.
It's not that complicated, though, when you think of it. Like,
No,
logically,
not at
it's not. It
all.
just
Not at
doesn't
all.
come up. Right? It's not an
intuitive
intuitive
at all.
play.
And it's not something that comes up. There are not a lot of analogous situations that come up with other cards.
Well, like I said, it was only because of a special circumstance that the Seedborn Muse was even templated as a modification of the untap step.
Frank has a whole turn with all his mana.
And here comes another Gifts Ungiven. What does he get here? Is this still game 4?
This is still game 4.
Wow.
You really didn't think you were going to get away without a game 5, did you?
Not this year. Not the way every race has come down to the wire.
So Frank is searching for. We don't know what he has in his hand. Does he have the? He's going to get the Goro, or he's going to get the Recollect package.
Well, Recollect isn't a package. Recollect is part of a package that gets.
Well, he had Recollect. In other words, he can get the Vengeance, Soul Survival, Death Denied.
Looks like Putrefy. It's part of what he wants. Looks like Putrefy, Death Denied, yet another Yosei.
So Mark Rosewater just passed me a note.
Yeah?
Said that last time the Pro Tour was in Yokohama, it was actually the shortest top 8 ever, right in this very room.
That was when Kai won his first Pro Tour?
Yes. Said it was.
So we're making up for lost time.
Yes.
Or
they average out.
Losing made up time or something. Now how do you split this? And what's the fourth card? Is the fourth card a land?
Fourth card is Shizo Death's Storehouse, which makes Ink Eyes unblockable.
Yeah, he wants Ink Eyes to be able to steal Yosei.
So you can't give him Shizo, so you have to give him 2 of the others. Can't give him Putrefy. So you
Mori pretty much has to chump block here, right?
So you have to give him Yosei and Death Deny.
But Mori's missing another untap step, right?
Yes, he is.
Oh, but he's untapped.
But
so
he's
it's
untapped.
actually okay. Seaborn Muse has done its job. It negated the first two Yoseis.
Correct.
Yeah, I think he's got to chump block the Seaborn Muse. You can't let Ink Eyes hit him.
He might not have a choice. I mean, he can't give him Shizo, right?
I don't think so. Are there dragons in Mori's graveyard or just hierarchs?
I believe it's a hierarchs.
Yeah, okay, it's just the hierarchs. Just two hierarchs and a bird. Maybe Shizo's not the end of the world. Yeah, he gives him Shizo and Death Denied.
He couldn't give him Putrefy. He doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to lose the. What was the other card he put in the graveyard? My voice is definitely getting a little hoarse here.
What card did you get in? He asked.
Mori asks, what cards did I give you?
Okay, thank you.
Frank's hand has a Wrath of God, by the way. It's Wrath of God, Brushland, and one other card.
He's not even playing the Shizo here.
Yeah, was that Karsten attempting a bluff?
I think so.
He's like, maybe I'll try to convince him that this card is amazing. And I'll
If
be able
not,
to
if
get
not,
a good card.
If not, he gets another land.
Yeah, he may easily have wanted a land here. Yeah. Mori just lets Ink Eyes hit him. Seedborn Muse is more valuable. He's willing to give his opponent a Loxodon Hierarch in order to keep Seedborn Muse in play.
Karsten's going to go up to 15.
Why is Seedborn Muse so valuable in the current situation? It's not like there's a Hokori anywhere in sight.
You know, I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know what's in. Does he have anything in hand?
Thought it was Arashi's and...
He's got the Arashi's.
Oh, so he can do Arashi, but there's no flyers on Karsten's side of the board. Karsten goes up to 15 by bringing that Hierarch into play on his side.
Karsten doesn't look pleased.
No, he really doesn't.
He looks upset with himself.
Did he mess up the gifts?
I don't know. Maybe he's upset about the Shizo. Maybe he shouldn't have included it. But sometimes once you've drawn a certain amount of cards, sometimes you start running out of
I understand completely.
cards to find with it. Just going to pass the turn.
Nope.
What else are they going to do?
Yep.
No.
So this is the second turn that Mori would have had with an untap step.
Right, but
So
Seedborn
he
Muse negated that. Mori's
Didn't
seeing
really
what the
do
death
anything.
denied targets
Didn't
are.
really
A couple
do
of
anything with those
Yoseis.
turns anyway.
All right, now what?
4.
There's a Celesting, a Guild Mage in Katsumori's hand. That's another use for the Seedborn Muse mana.
Yeah.
So that'll let him block Ink Eyes on future turns.
Yep. Pretty much every turn. Wow.
Wood Elf comes down.
Goes and gets
Another land to use with Seedborn Muse.
Goes and play. You get to play your bounce lands are very good with Seedborn Muse. They untap into 2 land.
Sure. Well, they're the equivalent of 2 land.
Yeah. You still bounce land, but
Seedborn Muse is Katsuhiro Mori's technology, too. He's the guy that said, you know what this deck really needs? It's Seedborn Muse. And now he's got a Yosei in play, too. Yosei, Seaborn Muse, and Wood Elf. Didn't get the Guild Mage on the table, so I don't know that he can use that extra land this turn. But, Dragon's pretty good. We said Carson's hand is Wrath, Death Denied. Interesting. Still got Yosei on the stack, not sure what that matters for.
Looking for a
Floating
spell.
has a second Wrath on top of his library.
Okay.
Yeah, Death Denied and Soulless Revival. He clearly has the ability to Wrath and get a bunch of his own creatures back. Wrathing away Yosei, never a lot of fun though. Especially when your opponent can then stack into greater good anyway. So, what's Mori's play here? Is he supposed to sack Yosei to tap Karsten out, or is he supposed to use it as an attacker?
No.
I think he's got to be scared of untapped mana on Karsten's side of the table. Karsten has the ability to do a lot of really scary things.
I mean, he could just sack Yosei right now.
Right. I think that's what he's going to end up doing. He's asking right now. He's double checking how things work. Again,
Yep.
He's double checking with the Japanese judge, and he's probably going to sacrifice it right now.
His hand is a Guild Mage and an Arashi. Seems pretty reasonable. Frank can Death Denied his response. That doesn't actually do anything.
I don't know. Maybe he just plays Yosei.
Every time I think somebody's got the advantage in this game, he suddenly goes back to neutral. They finally posted Karoo in the message boards. They could tell what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was a gigantic difference that you had to bring untapped lands back with Karoo.
Yeah, that was huge. I remember those now.
Ronin Cyberpunk also been with us since the beginning.
Nice job. There we go. Sacrificing Yosei.
Yeah, can leave him up plains.
Tapping 5 lands and the Hierarch.
Sounds right. Oh, even gets in there with Seaborn Muse.
Mana.
Frank may as well play Death Denied here, right?
Right.
Mew has been here since the beginning. Yeah, I don't think it's that hard to watch all 10 hours of this. It's been good magic. It's been compelling stories. It's been drama. Can the Japanese pull off the Triple Crown? Could the Americans stop them? No.
Hey, with the Karoos, wasn't it even more than just an untapped land? It was an untapped land that produced the same color?
Yeah. Better in 2 ways. 3 ways. Because it's rainbow. So there's the hand Katsuhiro Mori got off the greater good. He's now got a Jete, a couple of lands.
A Kori Dust Drinker.
Oh, Kori's in there and Congregation at Dawn. Wow.
So now...
Is Karsten ever going to get to untap again? Is that the hand that wins Katsuhiro Mori the World Championship? Hokori plus Congregation at Dawn seems really good here.
Yeah, okay.
Karsten misses his untap, and Mori doesn't get the Seaborn Muse, but he didn't really have anything to do with that mana anyway. Oh, it's funny. He does now have Congregation at Dawn to play at instant speed.
Right.
He didn't have anything he could potentially do with that mana in his previous hand, other than, I mean, Arashi with no flyers in play.
I assume he's going to attack for 3 here.
Yeah.
Or 2, sorry.
2.
Wait.
I think what else has Summoning Sickness?
What else? Want to just tell him?
What else has Summoning Sickness?
Didn't he play that What Else this turn?
Oh, wait.
There we go.
I still have, wait.
And meanwhile, Karsten still has mana in his pool.
You have a
4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Frank tapped 4 mana's response to the Yosei. Katsu ready to move into attack phase.
It's been so long. Maybe What Else shouldn't have Summoning Sickness. Should have adjusted to the time difference by now. Gets back Hanakami and a Yosei.
My turn? No. Sure. Yeah.
So you are switching. Switching, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nobody untapped. No Congregation of Dawn from Katsumori this time. But I'm not sure he needs it.
He can still do it on his upkeep before he draws.
And that doesn't do anything. Oh, it sets up the draw phase, but it doesn't, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, he can still set up his next draw, you're right. That's what he decides he wants to do. And he probably does, right? He can, if he goes Congregation, he can only play Hokori or Yosei if...
Yep, there he goes.
So you go Yosei here. And then next turn, he can play Hokori and Yosei, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Drawing 5 cards a turn in the meantime.
He'll need 2 lands to be able to pull that off, but it should work.
We can just play Yosei right now.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Or he can play Hokori now, that's the question. Like
He
if he plays
doesn't need to
Yosei...
play Hokori now. He just play Yosei, sacrifice it, draw 5 more cards.
Yep. That sounds right. Yeah, I forgot it was upkeep. Wow, great play. Kazuhiro Mori understands what this deck is capable of. He's the guy that said, you know, Seedborn Muse. That's what you need for these green-white mirror matches. He had it for the mirror match. Carson's deck is certainly not a mirror, but it has a lot of the same elements. Sort of green-white with long-term inevitability.
I miscounted. I thought I had 1 more mana. I had a great plan, and after the gets resolved, I was missing 1 mana.
Oh, wow.
No, just explaining to the watchers, the viewers.
Karsten feels like he messed up. When he went and got that Death Denied, he was 1 mana short of what he actually wanted to do.
Yep.
I had a great plan, and then I counted my mana, and I was 1 short. 1 mana is a lot.
That taps everything. Yeah, this game is...
Holy Katsuhiro Mori.
Yep.
Japan may be about to finish off the Triple Crown. World Team Title, Player of the Year, and World Champion.
On Yosei.
They're collecting the titles that had eluded them previously. Defending the home turf. Katsuhiro Mori is the champion, the genius deck designer, and I take back everything bad I ever said about his ability as a technical player. I take it all back. He seems on top of his game. He sees all these interactions. He can find the cards to set himself up to make these great plays. This is a great Magic player and a fitting world champion if it plays out the way it looks like it's going to.
I can't see any other outcome.
There's another Yosei. He's going to sack that one too. Draws 5 more. His hand just keeps getting saucier.
He can deck himself.
I don't think he will accidentally deck himself. It's actually starting to come into play. Seems like he's got enough attackers that he can play another Boom Boom here. Gets in for 3. That'll drop Carson to 10.
He's going to play Kadama of the North Tree here.
Yep. Carson's down to 7 now.
There it is!
There you go. There it is! Katsuhiro Mori! Wow! And Kenji Shimura comes racing in. Here comes Ichiro Shimura. Wow! Congratulations! Katsuhiro Mori has kept the World Championship here in Japan. Unbelievable Magic all day long, and the end result is a clean sweep by the Japanese. Frank Carson made a great run, but your 2005 World Champion is Katsuhiro Mori. 3 games to 1. There's Kenji. Kenji getting out the cell phone, taking a picture. These guys want to remember this. I don't think they need the picture. I think they're going to remember this for the rest of their lives.
The Player of the Year and the World Champion.
Wow. Oiso comes in.
Behind them, the World Team Champions. There's the whole Triple Crown lineup is right there on camera right now. Ichiro Shimura, Takuma Morifuji, Masashi Oiso, Keiji Samura, and the World Champion. What a great week.
Yeah, these guys are now hanging out, setting up for an award ceremony.
I made a mistake. I thought I had,
There's going to be an award ceremony momentarily where the Japanese players are going to get handed all the hardware they so richly deserve. Whew, wow. That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, though, stay tuned. There'll be an award ceremony in just a couple of minutes. We're going to hand out the trophies. They're all going to Japanese players. At least all the first place trophies are.
Absolutely.
Very well deserved. They put together a great deck for the standard portion of this event. They unveiled technology the world really wasn't expecting. They had sideboard plans that were well thought out. They were totally prepared, and they just played awesome Magic all weekend long.
It's actually like winning the Triple Crown and then also leading the league in stolen bases. I mean, not
their decks.
It's the deck that came out of nowhere, right? It's not like it's an established metagame, and they came up with a deck that no one was expecting.
Great point.
So it's a really, I think, distinctively Japanese bow to put on this whole package.
Wow. What are your memories of this event going to be?
I'm definitely going to remember that image of everyone standing over the computer. That was unprecedented.
Sure.
But what I'm really going to remember is the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I'm going to remember John Finkel coming out and thanking everybody. I'm going to remember watching some great Magic. I'm going to remember the first time I saw that green-white deck, and suddenly you're like, holy, all of these players have this deck I've never heard of. Like 20 of them have this deck.
Right.
And it seems awesome. I remember Doran Castle came up to me. He's like, I played some rogue deck. A Japanese player was playing it. It was green-white. I don't know what it's doing.
But I hope there's not much of it because I can't beat it.
He said, I can't beat that deck. I hope there's not a lot of it out there. And I was like, I scratched my head. I was like, okay, we got to look into this, So
didn't have to look very far.
Yeah, and I'll remember that Player of the Year race. That was phenomenal.
Wow.
I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, it's actually hard to distill it down.
Yeah, the Player of the Year race all through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every round, everyone in the building was just trying to see, did Olivier win? Did Masashi? What about Kenji?
And again, in the end, it was 3 points that separated them all? 4 points?
3 points.
3 points.
Oh, well, it was Kenji has 84 for Kenji, 83 for Olivier, 80 for Masashi.
Also, Katsuhiro Mori, welcome to level 6 benefits in the Players Club.
Free airfare, free hotel, $2,000 every Pro Tour, and then $500 every Grand Prix, and the man goes to some Grand Prix.
There's a really healthy Grand Prix circuit here in this part of the world, and these guys take advantage of it. They go to Singapore, they go to Kuala Lumpur, they go to Australia.
And if you remember, it's funny, the first international result that the Japanese put up this year was when Masashi Oiso came to the United States for a Grand Prix.
That's right.
Early in the season, all of a sudden the Japanese show up in Boston, and the Americans were like, oh no, what are they doing here?
I wasn't in Boston, but I was in Seattle when that happened the second time, and Paul Reitzel's jaw hit the floor, and he was like, I thought I was going to win this Grand Prix. How'd these guys steal it from me?
Yeah, Oiso's winning Grand Prix Boston. That may be the moment moment history points to as the real beginning of the Japanese ascendancy. They started taking titles. They came to the States. They took that Grand Prix title on American soil, and wow, here we are in the World Championships, and they took every title in sight.
A lot of their best players have not traveled to Pro Tours, too. Masahiko Morita.
He started going to all the Pro Tours, but only really this year.
Ichiro Shimura has leveled up. I think he's got enough that he's going to be going to all the Pro Tours. He's going to go to all the Grand Prix. If they come to an American Grand Prix, Shimura's going to be there. That's what he said. This is his year. He's going to make this big push.
Yeah. Samura's level 6. Oiso's level 6. Mori is level 6. Those guys are going to hit the circuit.
And let's not forget Frank Karsten. Frank Karsten, he just leveled up to level 5. I mean, he just...
Sure. Good point.
Let's give him a big hand.
Player.
He was a great player, great deck. Another rogue deck.
True.
Only a couple of people played any kind of great or good deck, and I think Frank was alone in his sort of unique iteration of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a great weekend. He made it through all the way to the finals. Any of those games seemed like they could have been a card or two in another direction. True. He could have easily been our world champion. It was a great weekend for him. And then, the American team also, Neil Reeves showed he's still
they came close.
He's still a master at Team Limited. Couldn't overcome those packs in that draft, and a really solid, consistent, unflappable Japanese draft strategy. Right? I mean, that's
good point.
They just didn't veer. The Americans were the ones who sort of blinked in that draft.
You think?
I mean, they probably had to. But, I mean, again, they just stayed on course, though. And that's what they seem to do every draft that I watched.
Spectacular.
So,
the lineup here, back in the quarterfinals, it was Marcio Carvalho versus Akira Asahara. The Japanese player, Asahara, was supposed to be the one who lost that match, but no, he wins it. 3-1, in fact. Asahara through to the semis. Frank Karsten played Ding Leong from Singapore. Karsten, it was a tough 5-game match, a marathon. Karsten through to the semifinals there. On the other side of the bracket, you had the Japanese mirror match. Katsuhiro Mori versus Shuhei Nakamura. Gazi Glare versus Gazi Glare. Katsu got the sweep, 3-0, dispatching Nakamura from the top 8. And then Tomohiro Kaji versus Andre Coimbra, the other member of the Portuguese national team to make this top 8, also dispatched 3-1 by a Japanese player in a matchup that some people thought he was advantaged in.
Right. Let's not forget to talk about Portugal this weekend. They had a...
That's a good point.
They've been, again, players who've done well in the Grand Prix circuit. Andre just had a 17th place at Grand Prix Beijing in the weekend before Worlds. The weekend before Worlds, he finished 17th at Beijing. So Portugal, I mean, Marcio's got a win this season.
Mm-hmm. And second.
Clearly an up-and-coming community of young Magic players there in Portugal. Tiago Chan also had a good tournament this weekend, right? He's Portuguese as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been having several good tournaments lately. So the semifinals, 3 Japanese players and Frank Karsten. Karsten did manage to take out Akira Asahara 3-2. On the other side of the bracket, Mori 3-1 over Tomohiro Kaji. He actually went 6-1 in the mirror match to get to the finals.
Wow.
Pretty interesting.
Wow. Also, we probably want to mention that Japan did not win everything they could have possibly won this weekend. R&D defeated the Japanese high school champions. Alan Forsyth, Mark Rosewater, and Richard Garfield beat up 3 high school kids.
With that, we are ready for the award ceremony. So I'm Randy Buehler signing off for Brian David Marshall. I will see you next time from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Wow.
Welcome to the 2005 Magic the Gathering World Championships Awards Ceremony. Handing out the trophies today will be the inventor of Magic the Gathering, Dr. Richard Garfield. Assisting will be head judge Sheldon Menery. Before we hand out the trophies, we'd like to recognize some awards already awarded this weekend. First of all, the daily format winners. In the standard portion, from France, Antoine Ruel. The booster draft portion, from Sweden, Johan Sadekor. And in the extended portion, from Spain, Javier Dominguez. We would also like to congratulate the world semifinalists. In 4th place, winning $13,000 from Japan, Akira Asahara. And in 3rd place, winning $15,000 from Japan, Tomohiro Kaji. For our first award, we'd like to congratulate a man who had an astounding run this year in the Rookie of the Year race, winning his first Pro Tour at Pro Tour Columbus from France, the Rookie of the Year for 2005, Pierre Canali. And the 2005 Player of the Year won in a hard-fought race that came right down to the end. From Japan, Kenji Sumura. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2005 Player of the Year, Kenji Sumura. In the national team competition at this year's Worlds, the finalists Jonathan Sani. Neil Reeves. And Antonino De Rosa. Winning $15,000, ladies and gentlemen, Team USA. And the World's 2005 National Team Champions, Ichiro Shimura, Masashi Oiso, and Takuma Morofuji. Winning $30,000, ladies and gentlemen, the 2005 National Team Champions, Team Japan. In the World Championship event, the finalists winning $23,000 from the Netherlands, Frank Karsten. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the 2005 Magic the Gathering World Champion, winning $35,000 from Japan, Katsuhiro Mori. Once again, your 2005 champion, Katsuhiro Mori. I'd like to thank all the staff, players, and judges that have made the 2005 season and this World Championship such a success. We will see you next year, 2006 season, beginning March 3rd through 5th in Honolulu, Hawaii. Thank you, and good night.